technical difficulties today, but we apologize and we appreciate your patience with us. We have a whole new team that is really running the show now, but we appreciate the new team and, of course, appreciate my brother, Pastor Levi, for being patient with us and being with us. He's also working, so disclaimer: if you see him kid or anything, just have grace with him because he is doing it all. So, Levi, thanks for joining. I appreciate you so much.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me. Per usual, it's always a great time being with you on your platform. I love your message. I love what you stand for. And I'm just glad to be here. And happy 2024. Let's go.
Let's go 2024. Yeah, for certain. I'm excited. I know we don't have time to read your bio, but I just want to say that Mr. Harrell, Pastor Levi, not only is he an ordained minister, he's also a speaker and author, and he has advanced certifications from Harvard University. He also published two number one bestsellers on Amazon, and he's an incredible architect in our generation. And so it's always great hearing your thoughts and hearing, what you think about what's going on and the solutions and how do we really bridge the gap between faith, church-based institutions and communities. So I'm really excited to hear your thoughts.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. I'm again glad to be here, excited to contribute and just share. Yes, indeed.
Yeah. So tell us, you're a minister now. You're also an author, you're a speaker, you're a musician. How do you
Mm-hmm.
blend all those things together? You also work in a school, you're in management at a school in Cobb County.
Yes.
What does it look like to sort of blend all those things together? And
Honestly, it's extremely hard.
yes.
But I've hit a space though where I stop stressing out.
Yeah.
Everything starts to overlap. Everything just I mean, of course, you want to have schedules and timelines and things of that sort. But I used to
Mhm.
be such a stickler that I would beat myself up if something went haywire or whatever. And you have to let it go. You can be present for
Mhm.
everything you have to do, but definitely trying to set timelines and things of that sort. But the biggest thing I would say for me is I just try my best to communicate. And not just in my profession, in my ministerial assignments, just
Mhm.
even in relationships.
I
I
love that.
set the precedence from the beginning. So what I mean by that, in my friendships, in my businesses, I let them know, hey, I might not be the person that can go to every birthday party. I
That's right.
might not be the person to go to every event, but
Yeah.
when you need me, I'll be there. And I set that tone from the get go so that way no one gets hurt because you only get hurt when expectations are not
Not
met.
met.
But if I'm
That's so
setting them, I don't have anything to really worry about. Yep.
No, it's incredible. So you're talking about like relationship and how to manage them, especially when you're doing so much as both a business owner, but also as a pastor.
Mhm.
What does it mean today? I just feel like being a pastor today is very different from say like
Very.
years ago when we were growing up. What does that look like today, being a pastor and navigating through all of the complexities of your pursuits?
Absolutely phenomenal question for me, and I'm still navigating and figuring things out. But
Mhm.
for me, even in doing in-person gatherings, I do them every quarter because there's certain things you cannot do virtually, such
Yeah.
as baptizing, baby dedications, things of that
Yeah.
sort. And even with the great avenues of technology, there's still the human element where we need to be in person. But I say that to say, for me, I have to remain online.
Mhm.
It just works better for me. I have text message groups that I use, and
Okay.
I don't do the automated messages. There are things that can be automated, but for
Mhm.
me, pastoring looks like how can I be there for you Monday through Friday?
Deep.
Honestly, Sunday is the least of my concern. It
Wow.
really is. I don't really care what happens on Sunday. Honestly,
Mm.
I tell my folks all the time, log on to somebody else on Sunday.
Yeah.
You don't have to talk.
Now you gotta listen to me on Sunday.
Mm-mm. I'll talk to you Monday when it matters, and Tuesday when you're having a mental breakdown,
Mm.
and Wednesday when you have a flat tire, and Thursday when your lights are cut off. I'd
That's
rather talk to you then and
yeah.
know I got when you're in the thick of it. And Sunday, go to somebody else. Do what you gotta do.
I love
And
that.
truthfully, I wasn't even trying because I do have a virtual church. And like I said, we
Yeah.
meet quarterly. And brick and mortar and all that will be coming soon.
Mhm.
But I have my Sunday gatherings at 8 a.m. And even then I do that to say, hey, for those who are really serious, meet me early. Let's get into
Love
the
that.
word of God. And then again, you have enough time to log off and go watch somebody else. Like for
Right.
me, I don't have that mindset of territorialism. You belong to me and you got to
That's
be,
not
no. And even when I approach them on Sundays or throughout the week, I address them, hey, if you view me as your pastor, your mentor, your coach, whoever I am to you,
mm-hmm.
however you want to receive me, fine. Here are biblical principles. Here's the things we believe in. I'm giving you the opportunity to participate. Even when it comes to tithe and offering, all that, I don't hit anybody upside the head. I say, this is the principle.
Mm-hmm.
Choose what you want to do. And if
Mm-hmm.
you're logging into this particular platform and you're blessed by it, it would be nice if you sold something to keep this thing going. But if
Yeah,
I'm not your pastor, but I'm your coach, then I'm telling them, take your tithe and your offering and go back to your pastor. And
that's
the other thing that I do, and this is just my own convictions,
mm-hmm.
people can give tithe and offering, things of that sort, because it's a biblical principle. But
Sure.
if you choose not to, that is on you. It is my
Mm-hmm.
responsibility to find the funding for this ministry and for this organization via grants, via other things. That's just me, and you won't hear
Mm-hmm.
most pastor leaders say that or do that. That's just me. But again, I'm gonna give you the principle. If
Mm-hmm.
you choose not to abide by it, that's between you and God, not me.
Yeah.
So I say that to say I
Mm.
take full responsibility, and I like to deal with people Monday through Friday, Saturday as well. And I give the opportunity for a Sunday experience. But if you can't log on Sunday, join the text message group, or you'll catch the replay on YouTube. And it is what it is. We were looking at numbers the other day, and just last year we were able to reach 5,000 new families and people.
That's
Um,
incredible. Congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah, it blew my mind because if
Huge.
you're gonna be 100, when you have
That's
your
huge.
Zoom rooms, you might
Over
have 30
5,000?
people show up, 50 people
Yeah.
show up. And I'm not talking about the Facebook views and IG posts that you boost. No,
Mm.
organic 5,000 families from across the world either came back to see
That's
what we were
incredible.
doing or what have you. And so it's showing me that it's working. But I think every pastor and leader during these times has to figure out, how do you move? Because it's different. It's different.
It's so good, Levi. You talked about what it looks like today, if I can sum it up in my own
Mm-hmm.
words, would be
Mm-hmm.
partnership. You're in partnership and covenant. You're not necessarily doing church, you're doing life together. It's how
Mm-hmm.
do I become a part of your life, not just Sunday, but when it really matters. Because I think
Yeah.
Sunday is the experience. Everybody's good on Sunday, but when you
Right.
get out of those doors on Monday, that's when you real life starts to hit you. And it's
Mm-hmm.
also created such a model that caters to the whole person.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know if you can still hear me now because it's frozen on my end. But to
Yeah,
your
no,
point,
you're
like,
good. We can hear you.
great. But yeah, like you said, I think we got caught up and mixed up. We went to the mega church era where everything became highly, produced. You used to
Yeah.
have streaming services like Streaming Faith back in the early 2000s and all
Mhm.
these different things. And I'm not saying don't operate in excellence, do all that. But when all that is said and done, we are on a lifetime journey.
Ooh, that's so good.
And so if I keep magnifying the Sunday experience, but I'm
Mm.
not getting to know you as a person, I'm the
That's
guy that goes to the football games, the basketball games. I'm the
uh-huh.
guy, honestly, when I was the executive pastor at a couple of different churches I would serve at, just being transparent, those
Mhm.
senior leaders would get irritated by me because the people started gravitating to me
Of course.
because I'm the one at the funeral. I'm
Wow.
the one making the phone calls. I'm the
Wow.
one sending flowers, and I'm not sending it from the church's
Wow.
budget. I'm sending it from my personal budget. And
Wow.
so there always became a friction because, like you even said, I've always tried to collaborate with leaders. I never tried to have my own. Even when you go get a nonprofit organization, they will always ask you, is there anybody in a certain mile radius doing what you're doing? If
That's
so,
right.
partner. I've
Partner.
tried. They won't partner with me because
Mhm.
when I partner, literally they will tell you numbers. Giving has gone up when I've either preached at their churches or they were
Mhm.
absent and things of that sort. So you would think I'm doing well. I was. But the issue is because of that crab in the barrel mentality,
That's right.
it's I'm glad you're holding my church up. I'm glad you're doing this, but I want the credit. And
Yes.
that's a mindset that has to break. And again, this is a journey. Get to
Mhm.
know the people. Do you know your members' favorite color? What is their favorite food?
Wow.
How many kids do they have?
Ooh,
Like,
that's
when is
good.
their birthday?
Wow.
Like, like we forgot that it's a community.
Wow.
I guarantee you, Jesus knew everything about his 12
Yes.
disciples, to the fact that he knew Judas would stab him in the back and still loved him.
Mm.
That's a pastor. That's a leader. I know you're going to hurt me, but I'm still going to love you. And I'm going to let you know that I know. And I still love you. I'll see you Sunday. I'll see you Monday. Like, that's what this is, because it's a relationship.
You know, it's incredible, everything that you're saying, and it reminds me of servant leadership. And I think we've
Yes.
been hearing this wave. It's been in corporate America, it's been in government now. I'm also seeing a
Mm-hmm.
lot of it in other institutions. But when you hear servant leadership, which I think we've been moving more towards, you think about the people that are selfless, that are not necessarily looking to
Yeah.
be at the forefront. They're not looking at
Mm,
action, but they're looking at how do I serve you and what are your needs? Because if
yes.
pastoring someone in their family, you gotta be connected to what their needs are, but we don't necessarily do that
Yeah.
a lot.
And here's, and I won't say, I guess you could say trade secret or
Mhm,
not, ministry, business, community.
mhm.
If you find a problem and you create an
Yeah.
answer, you will never go
Mm.
without. You will never be unemployed. And people locally and internationally will seek you out because you are a solution
So good.
oriented individual. Find the problem,
Yes.
be the answer.
Yeah,
And you can't be afraid if it's uncomfortable. No one wants to be a garbage man.
yeah.
But that's why garbage people that we look down
Mhm,
upon and they say, well, they stink and I would never do
mm.
that, they're making
Oh,
phenomenal
yes,
money
they
because they're
are.
doing what you won't do.
That
They're doing what you
that's
won't
good.
do. So that's the thing. Do what others won't
Mm,
do. And I say this
that's good.
too, and it's something I'm still trying to process.
Mhm,
But I know so many big wig pastors who their members come to me privately. And
mhm.
I'm still trying to navigate
Yeah.
that. And it's almost as if they don't want their pastor to know that they're struggling,
Mhm.
but yet they feel so safe with me that they privately come to
Yeah.
me. But sometimes I'm like, well, you got to go back to your pastor,
So keep on.
But I just say that to say it's interesting because I'm still navigating that piece. It's interesting.
Yeah, it sounds
It's
like
interesting.
you've cultivated a culture, where people can relate to you, where you've humanized Christianity in a sense, where a lot of times it's very mechanical for,
It's become that for sure.
and it's like
Yeah.
you're putting the humanism back into it, and so people are like, "I
Mhm.
connect with him, he's real, and I can relate to him." And I think there's also maybe a fear factor. People might be
Yeah.
afraid. There may be like some judgmental sort of fears going on there.
Hmm.
But I love your leadership. I think it really embodies servant leadership.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Yeah, I just honestly, even when it comes to pastoring, even being the operations coordinator at the school or being an author and all these things, I'm not necessarily trying to be any of those
Sure.
things. I'm trying to be the best servant leader, the best human
Yeah.
being I can be. And if that means you receive me as a pastor, then fine. If I have to be your brother to talk to you, then I'm your brother. If I have to speak to you as an author and give you more nitty gritty things I can't say in a public speaking moment, then let's put it in the
Yeah.
book. Even with my music, I have music. And I understand when it comes to like prayer and spiritual warfare and things of that sort, psychologically you have to hear something 7 times repetitively before you start to retrain your brain and your mind. So I use music as another method of communication to say the same message. In all these facets, I'm being myself. I'm being the same person. I'm just tailoring it in a way so that way, no matter what your walk of life is, no matter your tax bracket, your demographic, whatever you like, dislike, so be it. If you don't like pastors, fine. Don't call me pastor. I'll be Levi
Yeah.
today. Who you need me to be? What you want me to
I
do? Because I'm not offended. Like, I don't need that. Like, and now at the same time, because I also know people are like, well, you don't need titles. Well, no.
Mhm.
There's a difference when that title it's making you and you need that. But at the same time, if you've earned your doctorate degree, you better go by doctorate. Let people know who you are, because what it's doing is speaking of your rank, your level of
That's good.
knowledge. So when I even think about pastoring, it's not the
Mhm.
title, but it lets the listener know that he's qualified to speak to me in this
Exactly.
way. And just like with a coach, you wouldn't hire a coach that doesn't have a degree or doesn't know what they're talking about. So it's just, yeah, I can go on and on.
No, I think it's so good because we do become our titles and we forget your
Hmm.
title should not be who you are. It might represent represent a
Yes.
certain level of pedigree that you've worked for, but it certainly should not represent you as an individual, as a person. So you have
Yeah.
two books that are bestsellers. Can you tell us what the titles of those books are and what was the inspiration
Hmm.
behind it?
Yes. So I have two books. One is called Young Sir,
Mhm.
12 Principles for Becoming a Man of Character, Commitment, and Courage. And I wrote that book because I grew up in a single parent home and I had to navigate the terrains of manhood on my
Wow.
own. And even in that, I had gone through so much stuff in my life that I said, okay, I didn't put myself in this scenario. I didn't put myself in this, whatever. And so I said, clearly, God must want me to talk about my experience. He's trusting me with these life
Yes.
experiences. And I don't know what else to do with it beyond talk about it or write about it. And so I put 12 principles together about how I navigated manhood. You have the principle of wisdom, the principle of pain, which is one of my favorite ones because pain often makes people think it's a sign to stop. But people don't realize pain is a sign for a redirection, not to stop. It just means this sequence of events is no longer
Wow.
working. So it's painful because I'm trying to get your attention to shift into a new sequence, a new cycle, a new
Wow.
strategy. And so there's several principles in there, but that one's that. And also, even though it's direct towards young men, I tell people all the time, women can read it. If you want to understand your sons, your nephews, your husband, because your husband might be 50, but he's still 12 in his mind because 12 is when the trauma happened.
Yeah,
Just because you grow in age doesn't mean you grew in
that's right.
mentality. And so it helps you in that regard. The other book is more of a manual,
Mhm.
and it's in regards to prayer. Somehow I've become known for prayer, and everywhere I go, I get booked to pray more than I get booked to preach.
Wow.
But praise the Lord. But people started asking me, how do you pray like this? And so that book is called Rule by Decree:
Ooh.
Protocols for Strategic Declarations, and both are on Amazon. And so, in this particular prayer manual, and I'm saying manual because the average industry standard book is 50,000 words.
Mhm.
If your book is not 50,000 words, then it's not industry standard a
Mhm.
book. Sorry, guys. I don't care what nobody tells you.
Wow.
It's not. It's a booklet, and I mean, you can still sell books, and it doesn't matter. But the reality is, 50K is a book. Anything less than that is a
All
booklet.
right.
Which is why you hear me address that one as a manual.
Yeah.
Nonetheless,
Teaching moment.
nonetheless, in this book, I'm teaching you the biblical foundations of prayer.
Mhm.
And you must first historically understand that you must know who you are as a king and as a queen.
Wow.
Because kings and queens historically make decrees. What are
Very good.
decrees? Decrees are laws.
Mhm.
And so when you say I decree and I declare, which was legally coined and said from my spiritual mother, who you know, Dr. Cindy Trim, she legally owns that. People don't know that. Everybody says it all over the world, but they don't know that she was the originator of that
Yes.
phrasing. Um, you're basically saying, I decree, I declare, I'm setting into law that I'm healed.
That's
I'm setting into law that I'm free. I'm not asking permission, oh God, can I be free? If you know our Father wants us to prosper as our soul prospers, as the word
yeah.
says, and I don't need to ask permission. I need to take my spiritual authority and decree and declare a thing like scripture says, and it will be
Yeah.
established. But if you don't know who you are as a king and a queen, if you don't know your rights, and the book shows you the role and responsibilities of a king, the role and responsibilities of a queen, the role and responsibility of an army general, because the army general historically is the king's
Wow.
role. So it gets deep, but then it gets real basic.
That's
Um,
incredible.
what your prayer niche is. I'll say this last thing in hush because I start running my
It's
mouth.
good.
But even your prayer niche. So many people try to sound like their favorite preacher. Stop it. Stop it.
Right.
If you work in arts and entertainment and you know arts and entertainment language and lingo, pray that. If you work in medical billing and coding, pray
Mm.
that. Like that's your language. I know for me, I'm an avid person into spiritual
Yeah.
warfare. So you're gonna always hear me pray at some point about spiritual warfare and authority and dominion and territory
Wow.
and dominance and all of that. So that's what those are. But they're both on Amazon.com. Just type in Levi Harrell and they'll all pop
No,
up.
it's incredible. I feel like I just went through a whole class in 3 minutes. It's it's and it and it's very I think it's I mean, I think you're really shifting, um, paradigms, but you're also changing the trajectory of how we've always done things, and you're setting the tone for this
Yeah.
generation and for generations to come. When I think about the youth, those that are in alpha generation, Some call them I Alpha, but essentially those are
Mhm.
about 13 years old and down. Because Gen Z, they about old like us now. Gen Z in
Listen,
the work
time's
now.
moving.
So now we got the Alpha generation, and what do you think it looks like for them? Um, how could we cultivate or create structures for them within churches and faith-based organizations that will be relevant and effective in a way that will
Mhm.
matter to them in their generation?
Yes, and phenomenal questions, by the way. Um, One, meeting them where they are, which means technology. Like I said, text message. I promise you, I have email lists. I have every form because I have a hybrid of people that follow me and I engage with. But the next generation is moving extremely
Mm,
fast. And so you have to meet them where they
yeah.
are via text
Uh-huh.
message, via social
Yeah.
media. You got to figure out what schools and colleges they're going to. And again, you got to meet them. When I say meet them where they are, I mean physically.
Sure.
Get out the church, go to the
Yeah.
college, go to the
Yeah.
school. Just yesterday, I had about 10 of my students who got into some trouble. And instantly, we're in the counselor's room, and I'm having to literally, if you those that know me as preaching, if you saw a picture, you would have thought I was preaching to them. But those that don't know me in that regard, they just saw me talking. I'm with them. I'm in the school system. I live it. I'm deliberately working here because I want to be the man that I talk about. I'm not saying, oh, just for a photo op and we're gonna take a Saturday and go to a school and paint the school or whatever. Like that's cute. But no, go get involved. And I hate if I sound
No,
harsh,
it's good.
but I've been a part of so many fake ministries
Mhm.
and people and stuff. If you want to get involved and know what they're dealing with, you gotta be with them
You
every
gotta be
day. You got to know what's going on. And so that's what I'm doing. I'm meeting them where they are, but you got to understand too, we lived when there was no social media and
That's right.
technology. This next wave, all they
All they
knew
know.
was
That's
technology.
right.
I promise you, when I go to different schools and I ask them, what do you want to be when you grow up? They all are saying, I want to be a YouTuber. It
Yeah.
used to be, I want to be a
Uh,
mechanic. I want to be a fireman. I want to be a
yeah.
policeman. They are all saying, I want to be a YouTuber now. And the reality is, being a YouTuber is a lucrative industry.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
It is. I struggle with God again, if I'm honest, all the time about me sometimes even working here because I could be making crazy money
Right.
doing something
Yeah.
else. But I don't mind being selfless.
That's a
I don't mind doing this because I know it's helping the next generation. So again, to answer the question, meeting them where they are, both mentally,
mhm.
physically, understanding the new waves of
Yeah.
technology, and not just being a recipient of change, but being a catalyst of
Mhm.
change because they're moving so much faster. I was a part of a young man's live recording a couple weeks
Mm.
ago. I had no idea he just turned 20. And this is his third album.
Wow.
This is his third live recording. And I'm like, dude, when I was your age, I was terrified.
Ah, right.
Terrified. And it's quality. But even then, I just went to serve. He couldn't believe because he's looking at me like, well, Pastor Levi, you're this, you got this. I didn't ask him for a dime. I said, I'm here to serve you
That's in
because no one did that for me.
mm, that
So even that, being available, be
is
available.
that's good. No, this is you really you've no idea. This is so good. I'm like I'm receiving and I'm also thinking at the same time. And we're wrapping up here, but I'm one that I feel like I'm called to the youth. And
Mm-hmm.
it always I think about the way our world is today. And I always say I just said this, I think it was in a meeting today at with um
Mm-hmm.
person that works at a school in New York that wants our services. And I said, she's like, I'm tired of the DOE. I said, yep, me too. I said, because we're doing education like it's 1987 and it's 2024. Fact of the
Yes,
matter is our
yes.
systems are archaic, our structures are outdated, and kids are not they're not
Mm-hmm.
engaged. So I love what you
Mm-hmm.
said about even the integration of technology, and I would just even add AI and metaverse into that, because
Yes.
I think we tried to shun it out. We're like, "Oh, it's bad." No, it's not. They're faster.
No, it's
I
not.
always say they're faster than us. Their speed. My daughter, I
Mm-hmm.
can't keep up. I tell people, "Look, I'm just a paparazzi. She's the real star. I'm running behind her, holding her bag." Like she fast.
Yeah, like you said, it's speed and it's amazing. And I even use. I had someone ask me as a preacher, "Do you use it?" Absolutely,
Yeah.
because what it does is, from a research
Mhm.
perspective, I if God gives me an idea of a text, I know it. I've done my study. I know how to research. I have study guides and Bibles and all this stuff. So, because you still have to fact check, of
That's right.
course. But if I already know what I'm looking for, I can tell I need this from this scripture.
Mhm.
Go locate it for me, and it
Oh,
will.
wow.
There's nothing wrong with
Right,
that. There's nothing wrong
right,
with that.
right,
Now, if I'm trying to use it to plagiarize and write a whole thing for me, now that's wrong,
right.
because that's not what its intent
That's right.
is. But, and I'll even use it for grammatical things.
Yeah.
So even in my text message group, I write out all my prayers every single day.
Wow.
Whatever God said to me prophetically, I write
That's
it. What I will do for the sake of time, because I run the operations of a school and I got other things going
right.
on, I will then put it in AI and say, grammatically correct this for me.
Wow.
It's not writing for
Mhm.
me, it's correcting
Yeah,
for me. That's different.
very.
And so, to your point, we can use AI, we can use these technologies. It's not witchcraft, it's not a demon. Use it. Use it.
Oh,
And
Lord. You
and when you don't have a whole team, like I don't have a whole team. People think I have a whole team behind me. No, I don't.
wow.
It's me, AI, and Jesus. And then of course I'll
Not
get
AI.
and of course I'll get vendors for specific projects
Right.
as needed.
Sure.
But yeah, it'll work. So we can't be afraid of these things. It's to advance the gospel.
It
It's to
it's
advance the
exactly what it
gospel.
is, and I use AI, Joe, just we use it,
Mm-hmm.
and I had this joke with my organization. I said, "My staff may not be on time, but all the AI autopilots will be. They'll be right there on time." I'm like, "Well, where they at? AI about to put you out of a job," but just a joke. I love them. So,
Yeah, yeah,
just
yeah.
wrapping up here, I know you're at work. Just any wisdom that
Mm-hmm.
you can pour out to, I guess, one, those that are working with young people, so whether they're educators, and then those that are working with young people that are in faith based, so like those that are youth pastors are called into youth.
Mm-hmm.
Any wisdom in terms of how to support our kids holistically today?
Yeah. Absolutely. Be your authentic self. And I know people say that all the time, but no, for real. Be your authentic self. Identify the areas in your life that bring you pain and or irritate
Oh,
you,
that's
because they irritate you because you're supposed to speak life to it.
wow.
Um and if you're not
Mhm.
passionate about what you're doing, then you're going to get burnt out. Like you asked me when we first started, how am I juggling all of
Yeah.
this? I love it. Am I stressed out?
Yeah.
Yes. Am I irritated?
Yeah.
Yes. But I'm also fulfilled. I'm also excited. I'm seeing a ROI, and it's not always financial. I'm seeing the kids smile, not just in church, but here. Um, I'd be careful, but I want to give you an example. There's a major family
Mhm.
that has a daughter that understands putting on for church, and because mom and dad are public
Right.
figures and all of that.
Right.
I know that life.
Mhm.
I never knew working here their child would wind up being one of our students.
Wow.
And so I'm now exposed to how this child is trying to stomach navigating their own path while mom and dad are public figures
Mm.
and all of that. And she has no idea that I know her parents.
Wow.
And I won't, you know.
Mm.
And so I say that to say I'm able to look out for this student. And again, they have no idea what's going on, but I'm able to just be there and be my authentic self and show up for her. I forgot why I was saying that. I was saying that
You
for
were
a reason.
talking about supporting and being there for our kids, and that's big.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. Absolutely. And so that's major, because we see it on the faith-based
Yeah.
side, but you have to also see it on the child side. You don't know what the kids are going through. And so we got to show up and be there for all of them, be our authentic self. So again, being there, being supportive, being your authentic self, being as transparent with boundaries as you can be, because they have to know. They're looking for examples. When I was talking to the kids yesterday, they said, Mr. Harrell, what would you have done in this situation? And instantly I said, I would have wanted to do what you
Yeah.
did, but I had to learn how to be mature enough and not go off of my first thought.
Wow.
And so just those kind of moments, and not yelling at them. We talked. Each of them eyes felt filled with tears because there were moments where I had to expose what they
Yeah.
did. And but then I said, we're not mad at you.
Yeah.
I said, I want to have a conversation with you. And I have to tell you that was wrong.
Yeah.
But here's how to do it right.
Yeah.
You know, so you have to have those extensive conversations. Don't beat them up.
Mhm.
Don't blast them. Don't belittle them.
Ooh,
That's another part I had to
that's
learn.
really good.
Whether you're a pastor, coach, mentor, whatever, you can correct somebody without belittling
Oh
them.
my goodness. We gotta have a part 2 because we can't talk about that, right? You can't start nothing and then leave off talk about, because that part is, this is why a lot of people have sustained a lot of trauma because they've been embarrassed. They've been called out. Their sins have been all over on the micro
Yes.
email blast about what they did and who they did it with, and it's
Yeah.
so.
And it was a moment. It was a moment. And I even told them, and I taught this on Sunday as well. And I will say that I'm not trying to drop, but for those who are watching, go to my YouTube channel, Levi Harrell. It's a message called "It's All Good, It's All God" or something like that. I forgot what it was called. But seriously, it was probably one of the most maturest conversations I was able to have about pastors and leaders and anybody who you learn from.
Sure.
Your favorite mentor, your favorite pastor, your favorite coach. Guess what? They have sinned.
That's right.
If I could be transparent,
right.
they've probably smoked, they've probably drank, they've probably looked at pornography, they've probably done something just because you don't see it. But are they damned to hell? No.
Wow.
And so I'm not saying let them manipulate you and live a lifestyle that's contrary to God. But what I am saying is, how do you think the way you're even saying to me, man, you said a lot. I've been through hell. I've been through so many things that I've now had to grow from. And that's why I can stand and tell you. So we have to be more transparent and stop condemning people to hell for a moment.
That's so good.
And so, like I told my kids the other day, I said, because we caught this on camera, you might be done with it, but people will replay this over and over and over. And that's why I said you cannot hold people to a moment. We gotta be more mature because here it is again. And I said it earlier. This is a journey. There will be hills. There will be thunderstorms. There will be rain. Then there will be sunny days. Then there will be good days, bad days, indifferent days. It's a journey.
Yeah.
This is not a graduating class. This is a lifelong journey. And we have to make a commitment, not to be committed to who's perfect, but who has God called you to journey with. And if that's ministry, business, or whatever. And if the journey has to pause, you might have been friends from 1999 to 2009 and then fell off for 2 years. Have the conversation, say, hey, it's okay. We're going to take 2 years off.
Yep.
And maybe in this next year we can journey again. We'll see. But it's okay. Why we got to fight? Why we got to go on social media?
Yeah.
We journey apart, we journey together. I can keep going, I told you.
I'm telling you, you helping everybody. I mean, you helping me, you helping everybody listening. This is so good. I want to wrap up because everything you talked about is servant leadership. I believe the leader today, whether you're a pastor, whether you're a CEO, if you're leading people today, the world has seen enough. We've been through hell and back over the last 4 years. When you lose millions of people in a short span of time, that's called a pandemic and a crisis. It shifts the trajectory, the paradigms, and the structure of our entire world. And so I think today, when we're thinking about leadership, it looks exactly like all the things that you said, summing some of those principles up. It's being graceful with people. It's having people. It's selflessness. It's not the on you, but it's how do I serve those that I'm leading, that I'm connected to.
Yes.
And it's a journey. But lastly, it's about people. And I say this all the time. Leadership is about people. If you don't like people, please don't be in leadership. I just don't subscribe to it. You have to have a heart for people. And what I hear you saying, Levi, Pastor Levi, is that it's hard work. It's all about
It's artwork.
all about having the
Yes.
right heart, and people, they know that. And you talked about authenticity and transparency as well.
Mhm,
I would add to that, you have to be comfortable with who you are, because if you don't like who
mhm.
you are, you won't be authentic. You'll try to
Exactly. Exactly.
false personalities and things that are not true to you because you're afraid to be who
Mhm.
you are, because you may feel like people will reject you. So I think in
Yeah.
addition to authenticity is, are you connected? Are you okay and happy with who you are? And show people
Mhm.
your most authentic self. We're closing
Yeah.
there, but people want to
My
join.
there's so much that can be said, Imma hold back.
I know, it's like part two, part two, part two. I know you with the babies too, but people want to join your ministry. They want to be coached by you. They're interested in buying your book, or they want to book you for speaking or any of those things. How could they?
Mhm. Yes, honestly, if you go in the Google search bar, type in my name, you'll see several things pop up. So you'll see my coaching link will pop up, and you'll see all my bio stuff there to see my credentials for that. All books are on Amazon.com. Again, just type in Levi Harrell. Go to iTunes and all of that. For my music, type in Levi Harrell. And again, you'll see my music pop up. Please go stream it. They're great songs. They're really good songs. Um, and again, all of that is there. I'm getting my website redone, but as far as booking, you could just send an email to officeoflhe@gmail.com. And if you see me on any social media platform, inbox me. I respond to all my stuff. There's no team. It ain't that deep for me. I respond. Now, if you come in there talking crazy, I'm not answering.
Don't come talking crazy, y'all. He ain't gonna listen.
um, but yeah, you could just find all the information there. And yeah, just reach out. Reach out. Reach out.
Incredible. Please reach out to Levi Harrell if you have not yet followed him. Go to his YouTube page, follow him, go to his 8 a.m.
Yes.
service. And then
Subscribe.
after you go to the 8 a.m., you
Yeah.
go to whatever service you want after that, as he said. Um, but
Yes.
it's been a pleasure, Levi. Thank you for what you embody and who you are, and for finding your purpose
Thank you.
in the world. It gives people the permission to do the same. Thank you so much. Thank you for joining
Yes,
us.
ma'am. Absolutely. And thank you for having me and keep doing what you're doing. And I speak nothing but supernatural blessings over you, resources, partnerships on an international level to fund and undergird what you are
I
doing.
receive that. I receive that wholeheartedly. Thank you, Levi. I'm sure we'll be seeing each other soon at some point with the same spiritual mom. So uh, appreciate
Yes.
you. Thank you all for listening and tuning in today's Fireside Chat. If you enjoyed this message, lift it up by sharing it out, commenting below, and letting us know how you feel about it. We will be back next week. And we'll go deeper into these types of conversations with community. Don't forget to follow iRaise.org on all social media platforms. That's Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, I believe Twitter too. And don't forget to visit us at www.iraiseinc.org, where you can get updates about all of our programs and services. And I'll just put a plug in for those that are in the Atlanta area. We are going to be hosting a youthpreneur summit, which is going to be teaching young people how to start their own businesses. We're going to be bringing in experts from all over Atlanta, and we want to make sure that you are a part of that. If your child is between the ages of 11 and 18 years old, they are invited. More information to come about that. We're also launching our executive coaching program online for young people between the ages of 11 and 18, and I will be teaching that program. Your kids will be connected to a one-on-one business coach, and it's a 90-day program. At the end of that program, they'll be able to pitch their business to potential investors and get some money to start their business. We appreciate you all so much. Don't forget to follow me, the CEO of iRaise, at Shaniqua E. Moore on all social media platforms. Once again, we appreciate you guys so much. Lift this message up, and we'll see you next week. Stay tuned.